I always describe brand as perception. Like, who do you want to be perceived as? Like, how do you want to be perceived? How do you want people to look at you? Because how they look at you is how they will interact with you.
In this episode of Conversations Beyond the Brand, Dr. Tashana Thompson sits down with Shannel Wheeler, author and founder of Awesome Design Academy, a creative force, brand strategist, designer, speaker, to discuss how she helps clients bring their visual identity in line with their authentic voice and values.
I want to talk about who Shannel is behind and beyond the brand.
I have always been a creative person. My parents and my family were born in Baltimore. We went to church there. They're very God-fearing people. We're all God-fearing people. But then as they moved to a suburb of D.C., we never stopped going to church in Baltimore. So I always kind of had that struggle growing up between these two worlds. And it took me a lot of time to gain my confidence and figure out who I was as a kid. But I always found that in the creative aspect. I think part of being a good designer or service provider is educating people and letting them know like why I'm doing this. I've never been a gatekeeper. Nobody knows all the answers, but I know some of them. So why not share it with you? Like, I want us all to be successful. I want us all to put forth the best design that we can, the best brand that we can. And so if I can help you do that, then I will do that.
Branding should attract your ideal collaborators and strategic partners, as well as repel those that are not ideal. I just want to hear your thoughts.
Well,
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Conversations Beyond the Brand. I am your host, Dr. Tashana Thompson. And today I'm super excited about our guest. She is someone that I've had the pleasure of working with for many, many years. It's crazy to say many, many years. She is a creative force, a brand strategist, a designer, a speaker, a phenomenal teacher, and now the author of The Brand Restart. I am so excited to welcome Shannel Wheeler to the podcast today. Hi, Shannel.
Hi, Tashana. I'm so happy to be here. Really excited.
Shannel, you're such a creative and always have so many awesome projects going on. So I'm super excited about this conversation. Let's start with your story. You and I have worked together for many years, but I want you to share with the audience who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so I'm Shannel. I'm really glad to be here. Like most creatives, I'm always doing doing a lot of things, but we can't help it. But I love to create with a purpose and just help others do the same. And so I've been a designer by trade for more than 20 years, servicing different types of clients. But now my focus is on a new business called Brand Restart, which is really to help turn brand practitioners into brand experts. And so anybody like a marketer or a designer or a leader in a company who has to go through the rebrand process, I really want to give them those steps that I've taken myself and arm them with all those tools so that they can successfully do that for their company.
I love it. I love it. And you've been teaching design for so long now. I feel like it's been quite a while for your academy. And it seems like this is like the next step of like, I've learned so much. I've been in marketing for over 20 years too, but I've learned so much from you and like your process. So I'm really excited to have this book and have this new initiative going forward, the Brand Restart. I'm really excited to see what that brings. Season 2 is all about wearing your values, and you are someone that does that unapologetically, but also with a subtlety and grace that is rarely seen. So I want to talk about who Shannel is behind and beyond the brand.
Yeah, well, I think I shared a little bit of this story on social media, but I'm an only child, and I am a native of Baltimore, Maryland. I don't have the accent anymore, so you don't hear the twos and the do's as much. But really, I have always been a creative person, and I've always been interested in brand just because of my own personal story and how I grew up. Really in between like two worlds. My parents and my immediate family were born in Baltimore, and we went to church there. They're very God-fearing people. We're all God-fearing people. But then as they moved to a suburb of DC, which is called Germantown, and we never stopped going to church in Baltimore. So on the weekends, I would spend time in Baltimore. And in the weekdays, I would spend time in Germantown as a kid. And so in Baltimore, it was a very different environment than Germantown. I guess you could call it the hood because it was Cherry Hill Road. It was Moreland Avenue. And the kids there sometimes tease me. I didn't sometimes fit in. They said I talk too proper. I talk white because I could read properly. I don't know, just really weird stuff like that. And then in Germantown, I didn't see as many kids that looked like me. I didn't always feel like I fit in or people understood me. And so I always kind of had that struggle growing up between these two worlds. And it took me a lot of time to gain my confidence and figure out who I was as a kid. But I always found that in the creative aspect. And that's always kind of guided me through life. And now I'm at a point where I'm just me. Like I have a mixture of all kinds of things that have contributed to my personality. And now I can wear that confidently and embrace all the different parts of me.
I love it. I love it. So what led you, if that's a beautiful origin story, right? And like melding these two worlds. What led you to this point in your journey in terms of, you know, I'm interested in knowing like what made you go from being a brand strategist and designer to branching out into teaching and like teaching your skill set as opposed to, I don't want to teach anybody my secret sauce. You know how we can be sometimes out, our branders. I don't want to teach anybody my secret sauce. What made you or got you to a place in your journey where you wanted to share that knowledge?
Absolutely. I think it just came naturally because I think part of being a good designer or service provider is educating people and letting them know like why I'm doing this, not just doing it and be like, here, take this, do what I say. But I just noticed like over the time of me servicing different clients, and I've always worked a job and freelance until I started my own business. And when I was working a job, I was always freelancing on the side. So I had a lot of experience just talking to different people and just trying to explain to them like in a way that they could understand the design process, like why I'm doing this in this color, why I'm doing using this font. And people just started gravitating towards me and asking me, can you help me do this or can you teach me that? I've just kind of naturally took on certain mentorships or just business people who wanted to learn more about design. And we were doing these one-on-one sessions and people just taught me like, hey, you should actually teach. And then somebody actually put me on the spot and we went to a library and they were like, she teaches design. And that was around 2018. And they were like, you should teach at the library. And so I was very nervous, very scared, but that was like my first like formal class, like at the library teaching for free. And it just kind of spiraled from there. But I've never been a gatekeeper. I feel like nobody knows all the answers, but I know some of them. So why not share it with you? Like I'm not threatened by anybody else's success. So I want us all to be successful. I want us all to make the best, put forth the best design that we can, the best brand that we can. And so if I can help you do that, then I will do that.
I love that. I love that. And it's the belief, I think, that there's more than enough for everybody, right?
Absolutely.
I don't have to hoard. I don't have to gatekeep, as you said, because I can share the gift that God's giving me and there's still enough. There's enough for everybody. It's not a scarcity mentality. But I can remember being phases of my business where I've been in scarcity and said, oh, I can't tell anybody, but I figured out because they're going to take it. Like that. That's the inclination, especially in this economy that many branders and marketers have, business people in general, that I need to hold what I got. And I don't want to teach you anything to help you. So that's even more so why I believe that the work that you do and share is so value centric to who you are, right? Like just it's like a carefreeness to you, right? That
I'm a very laid back person. Just like, I just,
we got it. It's not that it's fine. It's
yeah.
yeah. So let's talk about this amazing book that you've written, The Brand Restart.
Absolutely.
What inspired you to write it?
Man, well, I have gone through quite a few different major rebrands with companies. And I can still remember the first major one I did and how nervous I felt. How the CEO was like, "Hey, Chanel, like, we need to do this rebrand. Like, we really need to take this company to the next level. Are you ready?" And I was like, "Yeah." But when I went back to like my desk, I was just like, what am I gonna do? Like, I was looking up stuff on Google, like reading books because I knew the process, but I didn't have all the answers, and so I was like reading books, I was doing all these things. I was also pulling my project management knowledge all together to try to create a process that was very fast because they wanted to do this in like 3 months. And most startups want to go really, really fast and do really unreasonable timelines.
Always.
But that's just the nature of business. And so once I was able to go through that process, not once, but more than once, and really get that process down and saw that it was successful, I was like, man, this is something that I want other people to know about because there are so many companies who are doing throwing the word brand around, doing rebrands, doing refreshes, kind of halfway doing it, not really knowing what they're doing. And I can see how those results come out. They don't come out optimally because you didn't do the process all the way through. And so I want to share that with people and let them know that there is a way that you can get success in this process.
I love it. I love it. Who is the book for?
So the book is for any brand practitioner who plans on going through the rebrand process. So you could be a marketing leader who knows that this is something that we're going to have to do for our company. You could be a designer in the process. You might be a CMO, but you're anybody who's going to be in that position to affect that rebrand. And so, really, this is ideally for someone who already has a company established, that has probably employees and clients and customers, and you've already got that brand established, but you've gotten to a point at a crossroads where you need something to change in order for you to get to that next level of success. And you know that this rebrand process is coming up and you need a guide in order for you to take you through those steps so that you can actually execute it correctly.
I love that. What are you hoping that readers walk away with after experiencing the book?
Well, I want them to actually be able to do what I personally did when I was going through my rebrand process and actually like be able to, if they had to actually read that book while they were going through the process, they could refer to page, whatever, and be looking at it and be like, okay, this is what I got to do for the discovery process. This is what I have to do for the launch. But really, first, I just want them to understand what brand is and to understand that they have to tell the truth of who they want to be and what their company is if they want that foundation of their brand to be successful. So number one, you got to know what brand is like, and I always describe brand as perception. Like who do you want to be perceived as? Like how do you want to be perceived? How do you want people to look at you? Because how they look at you is how they will interact with you. Because they say perception is reality, and so people first have to know that before they even move forward with all the other steps. So I just want them to know that first you need to tell the truth about who you are. Be willing to tell the truth about where you are now and what maybe the steps you have taken, and then be willing to come together and tell the truth about who you want to be so that you can shape the right perception for your company and you guys can come together, rally together to go through this rigorous process and hopefully at the end get the results that you want.
I love that. I love that. The way that you're describing this is like it sounds like it's so much more than a book. It's really like an invitation for realignment.
It is, and that is how you know that you need a rebrand or refresh because the alignment is off to a point where you're like at a stalemate. And so when you're trying to shape the perception of your company, people sometimes use the word brand. They're using the word brand like to describe the logo or to describe like a product,
Right.
well, service. And it's been very overused. Or you can think about it in the old school way, like branding like your arm or a cow or something like that. But if you think about it from the perception piece, it's really what shapes people's perception. And I have a concept, a framework called the brand pie that is formed of 6 different parts that form perception. And I always give this analogy of imagine you're going into the grocery store and you're like having your mindset on the most delicious pie that you love, whether it's apple or strawberry or whatever. And you go, you buy the pie, you purchase it, you get home, and you can't wait to dive in. Like your mouth is salivating. You open it up, you take a slice. The first slice is like blueberry. The second two slices are apple, and like another slice is rhubarb. So you're very confused. Like I thought I bought apple. Like why do I have all these other slices? And so it's misaligned. You're disappointed because you didn't get what you paid for, and that's how companies are sometimes as well. The slices of the pie are misaligned, and those slices include your core values, your culture, your brand personality, your messaging, the way you talk about your company, the experiences you curate, and also your visual identity. And that's how you express your brand to the world visually. All those slices have to be in line, be a part of the same pie. But if one is serving apple and the other is serving blueberry, and you're too off, then you're going to be serving a pie that people didn't expect to get, and they're not going to be able to align with you. And so when you feel like you've got too many pieces of the pie that are all over the place, it's time for you to make a change, or you're going to keep serving inconsistent slices to your audience.
I love that. I love that. And consistency is key, right? You and I were working on a project recently about like, we can't have one thing. Client may want one thing to visually look different than the other things.
Mm-hmm.
I always talk about brand in terms of personality, right? Like this is the personality of your organization. And I will be stealing and giving you credit for the perception piece because I totally agree with you. Like, are those things in alignment? And what does that look like? Like, what is the essence of that? Because I get my clients to think about, okay, what is the messaging? What is the essence? And I love that you mentioned visual identity last.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because some people try to put it at the top and like, what does this feel like? What is this essence of your brand? What are people going to say when you're not in the room, right? And that goes back to that perception. So I love it.
Absolutely. And I really believe in teaching to just simplify things down to the most granular aspect. Like, I think that in business, and in brand, we've gotten all these terminologies, all these big words that people are using to just sound intelligent, and they start getting diluted and convoluted, and we don't even know what we're saying anymore. We're just saying big words. But I think that you just have to really simplify it down to the perception. And it's a lot of hard work. Like when you do these brand discoveries, it's almost like a therapy session because you're really asking people to say, what are the challenges we're facing? Where do we go wrong? Sometimes people have resistance, or they feel bad, or they feel ashamed that they've let their business get to this point where things aren't working. But really, it's not my job to make you feel bad. It's just to ask you really compelling questions so that you can see where you currently are and really evaluate what your mission is, what you really actually want to do so that you can do that. And sometimes you get this far off that path where it's just not being intentional, or if you're just only about making money, then it's going to be difficult to really stay on that mission. So it's really important to do that hard work and that foundational work so that everything else can be built on top of that.
I want to sit there for a minute about like the hard work and like answering the tough questions. And, I am of the belief that our businesses only grow as fast as we do. I'll say it again. Our businesses only grow as fast as we do. And the work that you talk about doing, and the reason why it feels like therapy, the work that you and I do, is because it's asking business owners to take a hard look at themselves. And some are not willing to. Let's just be honest. Not willing to put themselves out there, not willing to be vulnerable at any level. And being in business, being a leader, being charged with the perception and the personality of a brand requires that you be all of those things, right? That you embody truth and honesty and integrity and vulnerability to say, like, these are our values. This is
Yes,
what we believe. And live it. Like, again, the essence, the personality, like, live it. Even if
absolutely.
you're not the figurehead, if you're the leader, that is your job.
Yes.
And so many of us, especially as small business owners, and again, this is no condemnation because people always, we feel away when somebody like calls us stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But again, this is the path to growth, right? And typically you're wanting to go through one of these brand restarts, refreshes when you're trying to scale, when you're trying to get from here to there, right?
Mhm.
And it requires that you kind of really level set and realign to those values. So I'm really so excited for this book, for this framework that you're going to be sharing with the world. And yeah, I just so love your work. I so love you and the energy and the integrity because I feel like you're the perfect mix of creative and structure.
Thank you.
So talk about how you got there, like being creative, but also kind of having this project management mind that get it done.
Yeah, yeah. First of all, you said a whole word there with the leadership and the doing the hard work, and it definitely starts from the top down, with leadership, um, wanting to do this rebrand first. But as for me and the structure, the kind of left and right brain creative, I always had the creativity part, so that was fine. And I always, my parents have held me to a high standard even growing up, like, getting good grades, all that stuff. So that was ingrained in me as well. And, as I went through my career journey, I'm working for different companies and corporations. I I wanted to be able to tackle bigger projects. I didn't just want to be like an order taker. And I wanted to grow and be promoted and things like that. And I got to a point, even with my clients, where I wanted to be more organized and be able to command higher price points or more respect. And so I heard about the project management certification, and people were, trying to scare me, like, it's hard to pass. And I took it 5 times before I passed, and blah, blah, blah. And that's not, you got to do all this stuff. And I've never been a good test taker, but I was thinking like, well, if I don't want to be a project manager per se, but if I can use this to better manage my projects and do larger scale, more impactful work, maybe I should try this. And so I did it, and I did all through self study. I did it my own way. I didn't. I spent minimal amount of money, but I went through the process and passed it on the first try. Thank God. Um, and it really, and I was actually implementing what I was learning as I was learning it at the corporate job that I was at. And I really saw it make a change. And I really think it helped me to have more structure, and be able to execute these larger projects. So I'm very grateful for that certification. I think it's very valuable if you know why you want to get it.
Indulge me for a minute. Close your eyes and imagine what your organization would look like if you had your very own team of marketing experts dedicated to growing your organization. Let's make this vision a reality. Schedule your complimentary marketing audit today. We'll talk about what's working, what isn't, and how we can help.
You seems like you've become an expert in so many things, and I think that is something that's necessary as a business owner. I can remember, shoot, almost 20 years ago. Oh Lord, don't tell nobody. Um, I started. It'll be 19 years in January, and I was going to graduate school and trying to figure out like what is it going to take for me to run this business effectively. So I ultimately ended up getting an MBA in marketing and an MBA in HR because I knew I would need the skill and the people. And you have done that like so effectively along the way, like making that transition from practitioner to expert.
Well,
Tell me
thank
a little
you.
bit more about that process because you're describing it like perfectly, and it kind of reminds me of my own journey in some ways.
Well, I think we do have a lot of similarities, which is why we mesh so well. And I commend you for Dr. Tashana Thompson for
Mhm.
taking that education. I mean, honestly, I think there's always a little bit of imposter syndrome because I know that I know what I'm talking about. But then you also have that side where you feel like I hope this works. Like I'm just experimenting. Like I'm just figuring it out like everyone else, which I think to a certain extent all business owners are figuring it out as we go.
Absolutely.
But I think because I have really like I live and breathe design. Like I've been doing it for so long. Like I literally started in high school, 11th grade, doing design. Started my first business in college.
I
And
didn't know that.
yeah, I went to a special I learned about it in 11th grade. I went to two high schools in 12th grade, one in the morning for graphic design where we learned like print making and all this old school stuff and all the programs. And the other half, I went to my regular school, went to Ohio State to study design, went to SCAD to do interactive design. The whole time was freelancing. Started my first business in college with my roommate. We needed to pay some bills, and so we started doing some party flyers. And we're like, "Oh, you can make money like doing design, okay?" And I've always had that entrepreneurial mindset. And once I found design to be that vehicle, I just was go go go. And so it's really about putting the reps in. Like if you do something 1,000 times, like you're just gonna have the experience, the failures, the successes to help you have more wisdom in business. And I just think those things have attributed to me being expert in these areas just from putting in so many reps over the years.
I love that. And I'm assuming that that's how you are able to kind of teach and coach people now through that process of like taking your journey and say, okay, how did I become a practitioner to an expert? Let me teach you how to do the same.
Absolutely. I mean, I've gone through so many private failures that I mean, so many.
Well, how did we
Yeah,
It's part of it.
yeah. I mean, that's how.
Course.
I think so. That's the part that people don't talk about. Yeah, you're the expert, but it's because I failed so many times. Like I've had so many clients that have had, ripped me off, didn't pay, or I messed up. I didn't have a process, or I had to get one. I had to really put one in place. Like you just learn from doing, and that's one of my values in my Awesome Design Academy. Just design by doing. I talk to a lot of younger people who they're afraid to mess up. Like even when I was teaching university, the students like were afraid to say the wrong answer. And I'm just like, part of learning is being wrong. We just have to get in there and do things. And you don't know everything when you're learning. And that's why I try to keep teaching people. You just have to do things. The action will bring the confidence. As the more you do, the more confidence you will get by doing because you will learn from your mistakes.
I love that. How do you help your students and your clients kind of get through those internal blocks of like repositioning themselves?
Absolutely. Well, I continue to tell them that I continue to pour positivity into them but also arm them with a process to know that there's always room. If you have a solid process, it's just a framework for you to be able to succeed and fail. So if you have a process, you have time to think of a concept, you have time to um, make revisions, you have time to research. If you give yourself a framework, you'll give yourself the time to discover what works, what doesn't. And in that process, you don't have to be perfect, but you allow yourself to move through it and get to an end that you and the client or you and whoever both agree that they love. And so I just try to arm my students and my clients with a process so that they understand like how this goes. It's not going to be perfect the first iteration. We're going to work through it together to get to the desired end. And that usually makes people feel better knowing that um, the expectation isn't to be perfect in the very first iteration, but we're going to get there because we are working together on the same solution.
Right. And put it in the reps, like you said. I saw a quote last week because I have a tendency, I'll say that I'm a recovering procrastinator. And it was talking about how like action is the antidote for procrastination.
Mm.
I think there's so many people, and I'm sure you experience this, like they procrastinate rebrands. You and I know.
Whew. Then you stress us out.
Then you stress us out. You make us tired.
Right.
And then I got to ask Shannel, can we jump on a quick call?
I'm like, all right, let's do it.
Here we go. Um, they procrastinate rebrands, they procrastinate learning. I've sent my designers through some of your courses as well, some of my junior designers. And it's like action is the antidote, right? Repetition, as you mentioned, is the antidote to these blocks that people have in terms of just moving forward. Like getting the thing done. I don't want to talk about the thing for 4 or 5 months.
Oh no.
Please, no.
Because the money probably already ran out by then anyway.
Absolutely.
You wanna get it done now.
That's, but then the client looks back and like, oh, I said I want to do this in January and now it is July. And many times, if we're being honest, like the business owner is the roadblock, right?
Mhm.
The leader is the roadblock. You as someone who is learning is the roadblock. With all the excuses we make, right? So I think that that's like really, really important. Like repetition, just get in there.
Yeah.
Actual repetition.
But change is scary though. I mean, change is scary, right? For a business owner to be like, I've already been doing it this way. Now I have to change it. Like, what if it doesn't work? If you're a learner, like, well, there's all these things for me to learn. Where do I start? Like, what if I start and I mess up or I'm not good at it? It's all these like what if questions. But like you said, and like we both saying, the action will give you the answer. But if you remain the same and you stay stagnant, that's the risk. That's riskier than making the change, I believe. Especially when stagnation isn't working.
It's absolutely riskier, right? Staying still is riskier because we all, as business owners, know someone that called you 2 years ago for a discovery call.
Yep. And they want to
call me once a year for a discovery call. I have people that call me once a year, like clockwork.
Mm-hmm. Like, how much more do you need to discover?
You're much. But I think that's really important. We talked about a little bit earlier about the season's theme of wearing your values and how I really admire that about you. What are the values that you live by in your business and in your life?
Yeah, thank you. Well, I think the 3 main ones that I think are the clearest are definitely integrity. I want to be able to tell the truth to myself and to other people and to do what I say I'm going to do. I try my best to do that. Definitely empathy because and sometimes I guess this could be a downfall if you're too empathetic, but I really try to understand like where the other person is coming from and really try to be in their shoes, especially, when they're facing challenges so that they know I'm on their side. I'm not trying to dictate what you should do with your business. I'm understanding where you're coming from and I'm trying to help you and I'm there to support you. And then definitely excellence. I want everything I do and us doing together, I want it to be dope. Like when my clients come to me, I'm imagining like you taking your business as far as you can and me helping you do that as much as I can. And so sometimes people come to me and they say, can you make it look professional? Or they're like, you don't have to, it doesn't have to be that fancy. And I'm just thinking,
oh yeah, it does.
Well, it does. Like, I don't use the word fancy because I think that's a kind of a low level word for design, but I want it to be excellent for you because that's just how I operate. So excellence, integrity, and empathy for sure.
I love it. I love it. I love it. How do you make sure that those values are carried through in your brand and align like the way that you teach? You mentioned the 6 pieces of the pie. How do you carry those 3 things through your pie?
Yeah, well, it definitely takes intentionality and just occasional frequent auditing of what you're saying, what you're doing, and how you visually carry that through. It's definitely easy to get off track if you're not intentional, if you're not looking. You can just kind of get into this routine of just operating every day or doing things to make a buck, and then you start seeing things veer off. Like, why am I doing this over here when I said I really wanted this over there? So I think it just requires this internal auditing of looking around and seeing what you're doing. Does it really align with what you said? your mission is. And if it doesn't, being willing to make those changes. And that's why even today I'm doubling down on brand restart and writing this book, because I want to be more of a teacher and a trainer, and that's what I've been saying. And so I have to do those things in my life in order to call that forward. And it's uncomfortable sometimes to make that change, but it's necessary.
I love it. Um, can you share a moment where where holding on to your values really made a difference in your business?
Yeah. Wow, there's so many. I would definitely say I've been faced with some challenging situations, challenging clients, but I think really I would say when I went full time into my business, I I really knew that I had an entrepreneurial spirit, that I wanted to have more of an impact for our clients. And when I was working in the corporate world for 15 plus years, I started kind of feeling like a fraud a little bit, because in the inside, I want to do all these things, but I'm still doing this performative dance on the outside and just checking the boxes, doing what I'm supposed to do. But really having those moments where you look out the window, you're like, how long am I gonna do this? Or you go into the bathroom and a little tear falls down your face because you got to get through the meeting. Or I remember asking myself, like, how many times am I gonna watch this elevator bank door close? Like, when's the last time I'm gonna watch these doors close? And when am I gonna actually do this business like I keep saying that I want to do? And so I had to question myself: am I being integral to myself? Am I lying, or am I telling the truth? And I finally made a plan. I finally figured out what I was going to do to exit the corporate world and start my business. And once I did that, I was in full alignment with who I said I wanted to be. And so sometimes it takes a long time to really check yourself and to get over that hump. But I think that was a moment where I really had to check is what I'm saying really aligned with what I'm doing.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Oh, that's good.
But it's hard though. Sometimes it takes a while to really cross that line. But it's gonna pull at you. It could be a really loud voice that's you wake up every morning, or it could be very subtle in the back of your mind, but maybe you ignore it a little bit. But it doesn't go away until you align the things in yourself. It doesn't go away. Just kind of the steady noise that will bother you until you do something about it.
I love that. Speaking of, you and I are both woo 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 girls to a certain extent.
That's understand, yeah.
And we believe in quantum leaps and the self-improvement that it takes to get from point A to point B many times, right? And you have this whole other endeavor, whole other world to yourself.
All other.
I think it's so super dope. Talk to me about the quantum leap experience.
Absolutely. Well, in 2023, myself and a good friend of mine, we created the Quantum Leap experience for women, professional women, because we all know that a lot of times as women, we put ourselves last. We are always doing all the things for everyone else. But what are we doing for ourselves? And a lot of us, there's something that we maybe have put to the side that we want to do, things that we sacrifice to raise a family or to climb the corporate ladder or whatever. But usually when you're at a certain point in your profession, you're at a crossroads where you know there's something more for you to do, but because you've been stuck in routine, or maybe you're burnt out, or maybe you're just busy all the time, you haven't really taken the time to think about what's my next step in life. And so the Quantum Leap experience is really to help women navigate that next step professionally and personally, so that if your next step is, I want to be a better manager, I want to start my own business, I want to start this job, leave this job, whatever that leap is in your mind, we want to help you get there. And myself and the founder, we both have gone through many leaps in our lives, and we just want to accelerate that for other women, help them with that. And we really believe in two powerful things. One, the power of just nature and God's blessing to us that is just right there. I think nature is so powerful because I know for me, if I have a frustrating day, if I just go outside and take a walk or get some sunshine, it helps me to feel so much better.
Mhm.
But imagine if you pause your whole entire routine to go to a whole nother place that was very different from what you're used to really stop and think about what you got to think about. Think about your life, what you want to do, how powerful that could be. And then also the other part of the equation is just your mental fitness, your mindset, your awareness of yourself. What are the roadblocks within yourself that stop you from doing what you actually want and need to do as a woman in your profession and in your personal life? And so the power of nature, and then also, um, which we have a retreat in Costa Rica, and then your mental fitness and being self-aware, which we have a mental fitness training to really recognize what is the self-sabotaging thoughts that you have, what are the things that stop you, and how can you overcome those thoughts. When you combine those two things together, you can make any type of leap you want in life.
I love it. Tell me a little bit more about your role at the retreat specifically.
Absolutely. Well, I'm a co-creator. It all came about because I actually took my own quantum leap. I was feeling some type of way about life in 2023. And Maria, she lives in Costa Rica. She's the founder. And I just went there just to get away and to chill and to reset my mind. And when I was there, I've started feeling a lot better. I surrendered all my problems. I just said, God, you got it. And things just came together while I was there. And we were just talking. We were like, what if we create this experience for other women? And we literally were outside, like eating dinner at a table. And we just started writing out plans. And we somehow launched the first retreat that later on that same year.
Wow.
What is it? Really crazy. This is what creatives do. We do very crazy
Crazy stuff.
And so I'm the co-creator. I was in charge of making the visual brand, and really just we both put our hard work into just creating the programs that will help lead these women through the transformation that they need. Just asking them to be open and vulnerable, and just lead them through um, the fear, action, and purpose that will help them get to the next step. So it's really been I really just been wearing all hats in creating this program.
What can attendees expect to experience, on the retreat?
Absolutely. So you will be in the jungles of Costa Rica, a beautiful place with other like-minded women. You will be having limited, phone time and internet is still available, but you will have much more limited time to that. You really just be engrossed in an environment where you can quiet the noise. It's very different than your normal routine. And you can really focus on what you want to focus on. All the meals are provided. So you're going to eat excellent food. You're going to see the farm animals. You're going to be in your own jungle bungalow. You're going to hear the sounds of nature. We have different activities that are diverse. So some of them are focused sessions on, that fear, action, and purpose, and leading you through those things to help you get to your leap, whether you know it or you don't. But we also have fun things like we have yoga, we have hot springs, volcano hot springs where you can relax and have a drink or whatever and fellowship with the other women there. We have a organic farm tour. You can ride horseback. You can get a massage. So there's lots of different activities that are all diverse, but all mixed together to help you really, number one, just relax, take a break because you deserve it. But then also intentionally focus on what you want your next step in your life to be.
I love it. I love it. What does quantum leap mean to you?
Well, quantum leap to me is making a meaningful change in your life, something that, and it looks different to every woman, so or man. So for some people, it could just be having more confidence to speak your mind, or to have more confidence to lead your team in a better way. Maybe it's something more dramatic like leaving your job, start your business, or maybe it's starting a side hustle, but it's really whatever is meaningful to you, that thing that you daydream about that you want to do, but you don't know how to get there. To me, that's a quantum leap. It's like something that's dramatic from one point to the next, but it doesn't have to be all of a sudden. You can take incremental steps to get to that point.
I love it. I love it. Do you mind sharing one of your own quantum leaps in the last few years?
Absolutely. Well, I think that one of the big ones was definitely leaving my job to become an entrepreneur full time. That was definitely a big leap because I was getting paid well and nothing was necessarily wrong, but I just knew that inside it wasn't um, the best decision or the best path forward for me, or the most honest path forward for me. And I've had personal leaps as well in terms of relationships and things like that. One, I'm not going to get into it too deeply because of her stern condition, but I had to take a leap of leaving a relationship for a long term one, and so I really think that you can make hard decisions that are uncomfortable at the moment, but are for your good in the long run. And I know that I'm totally fully living out the concepts of brand restart and quantum leap right now because I have done those things multiple times. And so I really understand when I'm talking to people how it feels to restart, how it feels to leap, because I've done it myself professionally and personally.
Isn't it so telling how God will make you or put you in situations where you have to live the thing that you're teaching and you have to know it for yourself? Like, both in our personal and professional lives, we are not beings that can separate the two. We bring our whole self into every environment, and it's like God makes you, or allows, let's not say makes, allows you to experience these different joys and challenges and everything in between so that you're able to be a blessing to other people.
Absolutely. And sometimes it's like, you have to do certain things for your business or whatever that thing is to fully take off. You know what you have to do internally to make those things happen. And it's just amazing how that works. But I do think that when you are totally living out the values of your business, people can feel that, they're attracted to that. And that's what makes you totally authentic when you're not just speaking about it, but you're being about it.
Absolutely. And you know that you know that you know, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is not something that you are telling because you read it in the book. You lived it.
I live this, right?
Right. So I want to shift a little bit and talk about collaboration and strategic partnership. As someone that I consider you a strategic partner, like you're on our website, you're on all the things.
Yeah.
Great so much. And I'm so grateful for this relationship. And I want you to talk a little bit about the importance of, collaboration and strategic partnerships in your world.
Yeah, I'm definitely grateful for our relationship as well, and I think that we have a great collaboration because we both have some similarities in our personalities. We just want to get it done with excellence, and so I just think collaboration is important in general. It's hard to be an island unto yourself and really get things done well, and I'm just looking at it from a standpoint of how can I create impacts? How can I help solve these different design problems out here in the world? And when I see a company or person that has a great mission, but they are having some troubles in expressing that brand pie fully aligned, or having some challenges really expressing what they need to express to get to where they want to go, I want to be a part of that to help them move forward. And so I believe that I can be a help to people. People can be a help to me to provide things that I'm not strong at. And when you put those two things together, you can do a lot in the world when you collaborate. But it's a little bit more difficult when you're trying to do it all by yourself.
Yeah, when you're trying to do it all by yourself and you want to hoard every penny, right? I
Right.
think that one of my clients, hey Quan, often says, how do we go further faster? And my answer to that is we go further faster together and with excellence, because excellence is also and integrity are also core values here at BBS. And it's about finding those partnerships that align um, with who you are and what you do. So, what is important to you in terms of in choosing strategic partners?
Definitely. Well, I think they should share the values that I have as well. So they should definitely be integral. Hopefully they have some empathy. They can understand the other side. And I definitely want them to be excellent because if you don't want to be excellent, well, it's like why are we doing this? You know?
Exactly.
So I believe that we should share some of the same values and have a similar vision in what we're trying to do. Um, and really be able to provide strength where the other one may be weak or complement each other. We both have complementary skills. We can just double down on that and just add to that. But definitely, I'm looking for people who align with what I believe in and people who are trying to make a big impact in the world.
Absolutely. I love it. Um, I think that one thing that we didn't touch on that I just came to my mind really quickly is about how branding should attract your ideal collaborators and strategic partners, as well as repel those that are not ideal. I just want to hear your thoughts about that, because you are very, especially on LinkedIn, very clear about like who's a good fit and who is not, and I love that.
Well, thank you. That makes me feel good. I like that. Well, it all goes back to telling the truth. And I think when people use the word authenticity, sometimes, I mean, if you do any brand discovery with any company, they're all going to say, well, our core value is authenticity because, people love working with us and we have good people and we're very nice. And, I don't really think that's what authenticity means. I think authenticity is really just, are you being truthful about who you are? Like, there's no facade, like, there's no mask, it's not fake. Because you can be authentically a bad person or authentically a good person. I don't
We're
know.
seeing that more and more in our world today.
Exactly. But at least let me know who you are, so that I can decide if I want to engage with you or not. And so, like you said, either attract or repel. If I'm telling the truth from the beginning and standing in my values, then I will attract the people who believe that. And if they don't believe that, then they won't. And we've seen that in real life. We've seen different examples, just like say like with Target. They said they stood for one thing, but they went and did another. And so what happened? The customer base, a lot of us left because we were like, we can't rock with you if you're not going to rock with us. And so you just have to tell the truth and you will attract the right people.
I think that, just really quickly, because I know we need to wrap up, that the integrity and that authenticity, the truth. People want the truth no matter, even if it isn't pretty.
Mm-hmm.
So, whatever your truth is, right, there is somebody that's going to be attracted to it.
Exactly. And somebody's going to hate it, but that's
And
okay.
somebody's going to hate it, but it's attracting and repelling, because we can look at the landscape of our world and see that when you tell the people exactly what you're going to do, they can say yay or nay. How they feel about it later is whatever, but you're giving people the power to choose, and just being authentic. And, I may feel one way about it, but my neighbor down the street loves it, right?
Exactly.
So I think that being authentic, to your point, is just the truth. Even if it's not nice, even if it's not kind, even if it's your truth.
Exactly. And that's the one very key thing about brand. I'm glad you brought that up. In perception, you can't control other people's perception, and different people will have different perceptions. So
Absolutely.
everyone will look at you differently based on the interaction of how they interacted with you that day or that month or whatever. And so you can never control the perception of others, but you can help shape it, and you can do a better job of that if those pieces of the pie are aligned. And so you can never control the whole picture, but you can at least tell the truth. And hopefully, the more consistently you do that, the more people you will attract the right people. We will attract.
Absolutely. And don't be afraid to share the truth, because it's going to attract the right people for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right. All right, Shannel, we've had such a good conversation. I could talk to you all day. But I want to have a little bit of fun with you before you go, if that's okay.
Yeah, let's do it.
So I have a couple of fun rapid fire questions for you.
Oh Lord.
Go.
Whew.
Let's go. What's your go-to coffee or tea order?
Ooh, right now it's definitely the brown sugar cortado at Starbucks. That is way too expensive, but I keep buying it because it's good.
I have not heard a lot about it. I guess I need to try it.
Mm-hmm.
What's one song that always gets you in creative mode?
Oh man. Plays anthem from UGK and Outkast.
Oh goodness, that's always a good thing.
I play it sometimes in the beginning of my classes. I play music before every class, not for the students, but for me, so I can get hyped up.
I love it. And people that have been on brand photo shoots with me, they know that we have a playlist. It is a vibe. You need the music. You need the vibe.
I need it. You need it.
What's one book that you'd recommend to every creative or business owner?
Ooh, I was prepared. Well, Brand Restart #1.
Absolutely, period.
But The Brand Gap. I thought I had it by me. I don't, but The Brand Gap by Marty Neumeier is an excellent book. I've bought it probably, I don't know how many times for different people, but if you just want to understand brand, read The Brand Gap by Marty Neumeier. Such a gem.
I love it. I love it. I love it. What's one design trend that you wish would go away?
Oh man, so many. I'm not a fan of trends. I think it's like these isometric illustrations. It's like the big bubble people that have the real exaggerated bodies. They're like these illustrations where they've got the small head, the big bodies. It's been around for probably about the last 5 to 7 years, but I think we can probably let that go now. Because you think you're differentiating yourself, but actually everybody's doing it. So now it just kind of looks a little corny.
Yeah, no, thank you. One affirmation or scripture that anchors you.
Ooh, man, you getting some good ones. All right. My favorite scripture is Proverbs 4:7. The principal thing is wisdom, and all that getting get understanding. I think if we could put understanding as a priority, we would have a lot less conflict in the world if we tried to understand each other and understand things more. And so that's why I love that scripture of just having wisdom and understanding.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And I love you. Shannel, thank you so much for being here and pouring out your wisdom. You are the embodiment of purpose and heart and beautiful design. So thank you for everything that you bring to the world and being a part of my world. To our listeners, if you want to know more about the Brand Restart, read the show notes below. We have all the links to the Quantum Leap, all the things that involve Shannel below. Please connect with her and get to know her. You will not be disappointed. Until next time, stay connected, stay rooted, and stay in relationship. Bye.
Thank you, Tashana.
Thank you.